Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Techgig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Transforming for Agility and Growth with Smarter Connectivity and Integration. Our guest speaker today is Ms. Sargam Singh, Product Line Manager, ISA, WebSphere Connectivity and Integration at IBM. Sargam is the Product Line Manager for WebSphere Connectivity and Integration products, which includes Message Queue, Message Broker, Data Power, Cast Iron, and Service Registry and Repository offerings from IBM. She has an overall experience of 15 years and has been with IBM for past 8 years. She has been associated with WebSphere brand in different roles and has worked on several products including WebSphere Application Server, WebSphere Enterprise Service Bus, and WebSphere Service Registry and Repository. Prior to her current role, she has led development teams as well as test teams and delivered some key product features releases from India Software Labs. She also leads the Asia Pacific Tech Sales Support for WSRR and has been instrumental in extending support to several customers in this region. Sargam is an IBM certified SOA associate and possesses an in-depth understanding of the middleware technologies. She is a keen evangelist of technology and innovation that IBM brings to make the world smarter. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Sargam.
Thank you. So, can you make me the presenter? Sorry, I don't. I'm not sure if you can see my screen because I haven't moved to presentation mode. I don't see the control.
No, we cannot see your screen yet. Have you shared it?
I'm doing it again. I did that. Yeah, can you see it now?
No, it has not yet appeared.
Well, let me know when you see it. It says I'm showing it. Sorry for the technical glitch.
Just making you the presenter once again.
Okay.
Okay, now we can see your slide.
Okay, great. So sorry for the delay of few minutes because of the technical glitch here. Good afternoon, everyone. And what we will try to do today in the next 1 hour is take you through the offerings from IBM in the space of connectivity and integration and take you through how you could just tie everything together to build up a holistic connectivity solution. There are 4 parts of the talk today. In the first part, we will look at what does it mean to be an interconnected enterprise. So what we call a smarter organization today is an organization which can freely...
Sargam, just a second. It's stuck on the title screen only.
Okay, I'm just going to the agenda. I'll go a little slow. I think it's taking some time to refresh. That's what it looks like.
See slide 2. You can continue. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just try to, set a context and move the slide a little in advance. Looks like there is a delay in the refresh.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, just ping me if it's not visible.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so there are going to be 4 parts to the discussion today. We will look at what is an interconnected enterprise, which will set a context to our discussion. And then to be an interconnected enterprise or a smarter organization, what are the steps or what are the infrastructural backbone that you need to have in place for being able to use the data that your enterprise generates in a smarter way. So the second part will deal with the universal messaging, what we call. So how do you establish a backbone through which your connectivity can freely flow? How can you make your business agile is what we will look at as a part third. And then lastly, how could we extend the connectivity and integration layer that we have built to encompass the newer trends in terms of mobile, cloud, social, big data? So how do you use the enterprise that you have in place and leverage it to open up these newer channels? So I'm on the next chart now, chart 3. Hopefully it has refreshed by now. This kind of tells us what are the challenges of the business today. Okay, so there was a time when enterprises were more concerned with the data they generated and it was being more utilized for the internal transactions. But the business scenario has changed with the explosion in the number of data points that we have today. So this kind of sets a context into what an enterprise is facing today. So we have a lot new channels which have opened up to an enterprise. The enterprise is extending beyond their physical boundaries or even beyond their own branches, across to mobiles, to APIs, to devices, to sensors. And to be able to leverage all that, the connectivity requirement that is exerting on the enterprise are very different from anything that has been seen in the past. Then there is a need for these connections to be, maintaining a basic level of security, to be able to be sure that when you're passing your data and you're opening up newer channels, the security of your enterprise is not being compromised. So it could be data that you are sharing with your customers over mobile, or it could be an API that your partners are calling to call into your system. There's a basic need of security that kind of underruns all the transactions which happen. Then besides that, another thing which we have to be careful about is the ability to manage transactions, because most often the task that gets initiated does not complete at one point. So for instance, if a inter-branch transfer has to happen in a bank, the parties involved in making that transaction successful are going to be two different set of entities. How to make sure that the transaction that is happening across these entities is viewed as a unit. All these different ecosystem drivers are forcing us to relook at the connectivity solutions that we have in place today. Connectivity is also the base for being able to do the analytics on the data that you generate. And today the need of the day is not just analytics, but to be able to take an action and drive insights that you derive from your analytics into concrete actions. So that level of automation and that level of expertise which is getting generated needs to be utilized in a way which can be beneficial for the organization. Now, I'm on next chart and hopefully you see it now. So the kind of challenges that we are seeing with this change in the basic ecosystem are very different from anything that has been witnessed in the past. What has happened with most of the the companies or the customers or the enterprises that we work with, the different systems which interact today have evolved over a period of time. And what that has resulted into is a fragile point-to-point kind of connection. So in other words, customers have applications which talk to each other, and these connections are made on a per need basis. So if you have a, say for instance, you want an automation with your supplier where you want that as soon as the stock of an item is decreasing, you should be able to automatically intimate your supplier about the reorder. Now you look at that one instance in isolation, and you land up setting a point-to-point connection with your partner or with your supplier. Now a newer need comes where you feel that your customers need to be able to see the status of the order that they have placed with you online or on mobile, for instance. And when you realize this need, you again go ahead and you establish a connection between your customers and your enterprise application. So what starts happening over a period of time is that this mesh of connection starts becoming unmanageable. There is a lot of duplication which results because you land looking at each instance in isolation, and integration at enterprise level, the whole strategy of integration, the strategy of connectivity is often overlooked. It just grows, it evolves, and what you end up with is a mesh of services talking to each other, a lot of redundancy, which becomes extremely difficult to manage, very, very rigid in terms of if you want to make a small change somewhere, you need to bother about all the other parties which are going to rely on that particular service. This is a situation which we find customers eventually getting into when connectivity grows over a period of time, and they gradually find that the systems are becoming unmanageable for them. Or in other words, they're spending a lot of their time in maintaining the basic connections, making a change into the existing scenario takes a lot of time for them, and it's a very costly affair. So this kind of situation, when you have a lot of applications which are talking to each other, is typically a case where connectivity is there, but the architecture or the design patterns around connectivity are not in place. What this in turn leads to is that the systems that we now have are unable to meet the demand of the business. We start having something we call information blind spots, where you have information which is at some state in one system, and it is not synchronized across systems in a timely manner. You start going into batch cycles, and the updates which are reflected, there is a delay in the state of the particular transaction in one system versus the other system. So all this leads to missed opportunities, because at any point in time, we are not able to get the exact status of what is happening with the business. Over time, the integration challenges increase, and with the whole explosion in the newer endpoints, like you need to go over to mobile, or you need to start leveraging cloud. You want to get data from smart sensors. All that compounds the challenges which you are already facing, and you start realizing that it's becoming more and more difficult for you to introduce these newer opportunities. The reflexes that the business has to be able to sense and respond to stimuli, they become slower, and you lose the whole insight into what's going on, because it's difficult for you to analyze what's going under the covers. And lastly, there is a lack of agility. So agility basically refers to your ability to be able to quickly respond to a change in your business requirements. And that can happen when your infrastructure supports you. So with all this, what starts happening is business starts getting driven by IT, or rather constrained by IT. Whereas IT instead of being an enabler for the business becomes a hurdle, because you cannot, if you want to introduce a newer discount scheme, for instance, you need your systems to change, and that change is going to take some time. So you cannot do things which are driven by business. You need to see if your IT infrastructure back there is in a state to quickly adopt those changes and support it. So this is the challenge.